The antagonists in this arc have left people in the Black Clover community itching for some kind of tension. And recently, I noticed in the community that people have already started to downplay Lucifero, which to me is absolutely insane. And I think that's a result of, people's high expectations of Morris being the next big villain in Black Clover being crushed to dust. Although, I'll tell you why Morris served his purpose well as an antagonist. But first, let's talk about Lucifero. If you're one of those people who have low expectations for him because of the recent lackluster villains, then here are a couple reasons as to why you should be very hyped. For one, this isn't the Dark Triad or Morris who uses the power of the devil. This is the devil himself. And not just any devil, this is the Demon King. Exhibit A. The lower devils in the Calipa tree, as stated by Natch, are way more powerful than the Dark Triad. Now compare the level 1 devil Asta fought Lilith and Nama and the twins, he beat them, right? As they were fused, but it wasn't as easy after they fused. I mean, he couldn't keep up with them. Remember that in those 5 minutes, he would have failed to beat them if Nahato wasn't there to grab them with his shadow magic. And this was only the Supreme Devils from level 1. Now you have to imagine what would happen if the level 7 devil came out through the second gate. There's going to be a big major power gap that's going to be created if Lucifero does indeed emerge. Which leads me to Exhibit B. Remember Julius in the previous chapters? He already foreshadowed the gap in power going to be insane, as he said that he felt something enormous about to emerge. Exhibit C. The Dark Triad was nearly at 100%. When the Dark Triad was at 100%, they were nearly equal to Lilith and Nama, and this is excluding the Devil Hard Zenon, of course. So again, this is another example on how big the gap in power is really going to be. Now you have Exhibit D. You also have LUCIFERO'S, who is presumably a devil in the lower half of the Calipa tree, and just summoning him was enough to not only paralyze Nahato, but also kill everyone that didn't summon him, outside of Morgan, of course. However, if there's a reason for that, we'll eventually find out, but the point I'm trying to make is that the difference between how menacing a lower devil compared to an upper devil is pretty scary. Not to mention, Lucifero is even deeper than LUCIFERO'S. Now, I know what you may be thinking. That means Lucifero should murder everyone in the room when he appears, right? Because LUCIFERO'S did something similar to that. But this could just be a guess, but I think that implies heavily on their magic. So what I'm saying is, say that LUCIFERO'S magic it operates in a way that brings death to individuals under certain conditions, which is potentially why Morgan was left out. And speaking of LUCIFERO'S, I made a video speculating on what his magic could be. I said it could be death magic or black magic, and I explained in that video why. You should check that out. But back to Lucifero. So instead of Lucifero killing everyone when he appears, let's say when Lucifero appears, his presence would pin everyone on the ground with his gravity magic and preventing them from moving. Or he could just do something that's related to his gravity magic, but that's what would be the cause of being in Lucifero's presence. Something related to gravity magic will happen. Exhibit E. Nahato also mentioned that Lucifero's presence threatens the world. Morris, the Dark Triad, or any villain in this series has been mentioned in that regard. So that's an insane power gap. If Lucifero appears, then he's going to be nearly at full power because he's emerging directly from the underworld. This is not like Megicula, who emerged from Vonica. This is Lucifero coming straight from the gates. Not to mention, when I say nearly at full power, it's because he won't have his grimoire, but that only stopped him from casting complex spells. Now the question is, where will they go from here if someone that strong emerges? That's an answer I don't have for you, because we're dealing with something unprecedented. But that's a good thing, because it will not only increase the tension, but it will keep us guessing, and we'll probably be introduced to something new. So in conclusion, LUCIFERO'S hype is way bigger than Moore's hype when it comes to strength. Moore's hype was centered around his intellect and his crazy experiments. And he showcased that very well by fusing two grimoires together, scientifically enhancing diamond soldiers, designing the Candelo to collect mana for the clover ritual. He also found a way to speed up the ritual, but most importantly, he found a way to modify the clover tree so that the strongest devil, Lucifero, emerges. And who knows, maybe the other two rulers will be freed as well, since they're both on the final level with Lucifero as well. So to me, Morris lived up in his hype, in my opinion, by showcasing his intellect and experiments. But as a fighter, there's no hype behind that, unfortunately. All of that was created by the fandom, and a little bit of me, of course, included. I bought into it just a little bit. But you could also argue that him beating Dorothy was pretty hype, right? But you have to remember that he only had to touch Dorothy to defeat her because his modification magic enhanced by his devil powers can now manipulate concepts. So you don't really need to be an exceptional fighter to do that. But, he was still up against the Black Bulls, who have their, fair share of hacks. But anyways, if you haven't already, I need you to join me and invest big in these LUCIFERO stocks. I promise you won't regret it. Alright, so that's it for me. LUCIFERO is coming soon, and if you've been following this channel, then you know I've been all in on LUCIFERO, way more than I have for Morris. If you enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up and click that subscribe button, which is essentially you invest again those LUCIFERO stocks with me. Trust me, it's going to be one hell of a ride these next chapters. So let's enjoy it together. Alright, peace out.